to make merry with loved ones, a time to be a blessing. May your holiday season be filled with joy, laughter, and beautiful moments. From all of us in Morrison Communications Limited, Wish 99.5 FM and Atlantic Television Network, we wish you a Merry Christmas full of amazing experiences. Cheers to a beautiful year end.
Good to have you back on Atlantic Blowout, everyone. If you need to run, as always, we got you covered. All you need to do is log on to watch us live on our virtual site on a website, we're atlantictelevisionnetwork.tv. You can also download our app from the App Store if you don't have that already, where you can also watch us live. It's ATN Live, or watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. That's Atlantic Television Network. Now we'll take on. Before that, I'd like to quickly welcome a very own Gogo Wellington. Good morning and good to have you on Atlantic Blowout.
Good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Robinson.
Okay, the government of Enugu State gives construction companies, entities, and individuals engaged in road construction, public and private installations of fiber optic cables and other similar projects contractors 24 hours to replace and fix all damaged infrastructure and other public facilities caused by them and their agents' activities in the state or risk being blacklisted by the government. Now, here's the government saying contractors have destroyed facilities meant to be used by the citizenry. And I mean, the one I can relate to are people, the fiber optics people. They just dig up any street and put their cables underneath, cover it shabbily, and leave. And we don't complain because we need the service. But is that enough for the government to talk about blacklisting them when the government has contractors that don't even fulfill their obligation as contractors?
For me, I feel just the example you gave with the fiber optics. We need the service, but it's private business. Do the needful to restore the public infrastructure to the state it was before they started digging or pulling out, let's say, coal tar, especially tarred roads. There are times when they dig out sections of tarred roads. They would dig it so deep, sometimes up to like. At the end of the day, they replace it with just mortar.
Okay.
So it's their responsibility to restore the public infrastructure back to the state that they met it.
All right, let's, in continuation of this, let's look at what the states, another part of the reason which they pointed out. Secretary to the State Government, Professor Chidebere Onya, while addressing a stakeholders meeting Let's use the fiber optics for instance. This doesn't take going and the size of the work. We are looking at a situation where you say, okay, 24 hours. If the work doesn't take 24 hours, does that then mean that because they've indemnified themselves to say they will follow the rules or the policy of the state, you're going to be having issues with them? And then the idea of having to blacklist them, does it have to go to that extreme? Why don't you have your rules clearly stated so that every ministry in the state, for instance, can know what to do? And then if anyone goes contrary to that or runs foul to that, you now say, okay, we had an agreement.
Right. It is before the government will come out with this indemnification notice and all, the contractors must have flouted several instructions or orders or meetings that they would have had with them, and we even see it around here. It's a very commendable move by the Enugu State government. It's very, very commendable because, for me, I don't see it as though it's too much. Let's say the contractors have duty of care, right, for the public infrastructure that they are going to damage. So let's say before you start digging a section of a tarred road, you should have already made provision for the laterite or whatever it is that you will use. Even the whatever materials that you would use to restore that road back to the state where you found it, you would make it ready before you start damaging it. So that once you damage, you fill and seal. So that those things are even hazardous to vehicles, to human beings. And when these damages occur, you see that they pass on this irresponsibility to the victims. Because you can't even find them in the first place. There was a case where somewhere around Woji in Port Harcourt, a vehicle ran into one of those ditches. Who would repair the vehicle? I'm sure that entire section of that vehicle will be damaged. So would that person go and start tracing the fiber optics company that's probably carrying out that? Because they don't even place caution signs. No caution tapes, no caution signs. It's just a walking trap. So you see that these things actually require urgent attention. And I'm quite impressed that the state government is giving an issue like this attention. Like, it's an example for other state governments to emulate. Because government is not just about doing road projects and maybe playing to the gallery for issues that we see to be big issues, but at least attending to issues, day-to-day issues that affect the lives of the citizens.
I agree that this process looks commendable, but is the 24 hours not too stringent?
It will put them on their toes, right? There's also a room for default. When you default, you should be ready to pay. So let's say you have 24 hours. Upon expiration of 24 hours, you know that the government is counting down for you the cost that you will pay. So they will be on their toes, and they will ensure, at least even if they have to pay for default, they shouldn't exceed a day or two. So the whole idea is to put them on their toes, I believe.
Okay.
The controversy surrounding the appointment of caretaker committees by Governor Hyacinth Alia of Benue State took another turn as the State Assembly on Monday confirmed the caretaker nominees despite the National Assembly opposition to the process and called on the federal government to withhold statutory allocations to local councils not democratically elected nationwide. Recall that the Senate's resolution followed a motion titled Urgent Need to Halt the Erosion of Democracy and Dissolution of Elected Councils in Benue State, and sponsored by Senator Ababu during last Friday's plenary. Senator Moro had emphasized that assigning caretaker committees to replace elected councils goes against the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended. The Senate further urged the Governor of Benue State to review the dissolution of the councils, the constitution of caretaker committees, and reinstate the elected officials away from caretaker committees. However, on Monday, and in defiance of the Senate's order, the Benue State Assembly proceeded to confirm 21 out of the 23 caretaker nominees, while nominees from Oju and Obi were stopped by the Assembly to step down. And we've seen this play out over and over. Every time a new government comes in, they want to, if I would borrow a word from our former governor, they want to erase the former structure. The governments, every state government is all about a structure. Sometimes the former governor might be their predecessor, might be their boss, but they just feel, if I come in, let me empower my own followers. We've seen it happen in River State during the Rotimi Amechi era. We've seen it happen in so many other states, in Bayelsa, with their policies. What the Senate is now saying, is there any meat to it? Is it not possible to do that?
Well, in a country like Nigeria, where our democratic institutions are still relatively immature in the sense that you still see so much disregard for democratic, or the seed that has been sown by his predecessors. So they will all be doing this until punitive measures are actually
explain the fact that one that we have now seen in Nigeria, where institutions are being disregarded. This is Nigeria, the upper chamber, saying, "Hey, you guys need to put a hold on this." And these nominees, there were about 23, but 21 of them were nominated. 2 they were stepped down to for other reasons. The concern then is watching our institutions being eroded from the national to the state level. Are we sure that Nigeria is ready to actually manifest democracy the way it ought to be?
remember when this issue of the NLC president being harassed in Imo State happened, and the TUC president, that for a dictator like Idi Amin to not be able to get people from the judiciary to do his bidding, that showed you how sacred the judiciary is supposed to be. But in our own case, you've seen that